in Cameroon on the 12th of October. We saw a lot of manipulation to try and change the result of the election, and that's the reason why everybody is here saying that we are expecting the result that come from the ballot to be the one that are read here, not manipulated result from the machine of Elecam. So today we expecting, as is being read now in Cameroon, we want the result to call Issa Chiroma as the new president of Cameroon. No other thing will be accepted. And we will seize the embassy and to wait for President Chiroma to speak to us. Since yesterday, there are movements in Cameroon and people are being killed by the police because they went on the street to say, we voted for a person and we want that result to come out. You will know that legally, this is the last day that they have to give that election, the election result. They had promised to give it on the 23rd, on Thursday. As we were waiting for the result to come out, they postponed it to today. And they've been arresting the opposition leader. They arrested Anise Ekane. They arrested Jokam Chameni. They arrested Professor Abba Oyono. They arrested Dr. Aristide Mono. All the leaders that will speak against the wrong that are done in Cameroon were being arrested by the regime in place.
Okay, let me just interject you there. You were here earlier than maybe some of us. You have spoken, you have engaged with officials inside. What has been their response?
The official inside have not accepted to speak to us, but we don't have a problem with that. We are waiting for the right result. When the right result comes, we know that they must be out of that office, and we wait for the ambassador that Issa Chiroma will design for South Africa. So from the 12th of October, these people are just waiting for the result of the election, and they will move from our embassy to allow the new ambassador to take the position.
The whole Africa is listening to you, sir. Why don't you want President Biya?
President Biya has been in power for 43 years. And for 9 years now, there's been war in the northwest and southwest of our country. You saw pictures there of kids being killed by the army. You know that there's a secession in Cameroon. Our country is already being divided into two. There's Boko Haram killing us in the north of the Cameroon. And they are talking about peace. There's no longer peace in Cameroon. For 43 years, that man and his regime have done nothing for our country. That's why you will see this number of people in your country, because they went to school, they have their diploma, their certificate, and there is no opportunity in our country because these people swallow everything for themselves and nothing for the people. So the people have decided, and we don't want to fight with the decision of the people. We want peace, but we want the peace that the people of Cameroon want, not the peace of Paul Biya and his army.
What do you think is at the center of the division that we see in Cameroon, where there is the English side and then, you know, the other side?
It's the mismanagement of the country. It's the non-respect of the own laws of Cameroon. When we have the referendum that united Cameroon, in our condition, it was stated that the federalism will not be stopped. They stopped federalism without consultation. And now, slowly, the French system tried to swallow the English system. That's what causes the scission that's there now. We have the possibility to fix it. The federalism is a system that runs in many countries. Return back to federalism to allow the people of the English-speaking region to live with their own reality and culture and continue to live together with Cameroonian of the French-speaking side in unity and harmony like usual. There's no way you will centralize everything to Yaoundé so that you can take the money from the petrol, take the money from the agriculture, and share nothing with the rest of the region, and that everybody will accept.
Yes, you have mentioned French, which is France. Is it also part of? Do you see any problem coming from France of interference?
The problem of the whole Africa have been France interference. The all French-speaking countries are in trouble. Even in Ouattara, in Cote d'Ivoire right now, there's the result of the election being contested. There have been prominent candidates being eliminated. So French must leave Africa alone. The problem of Cameroon is initially French. Even when you speak from the people that are angry in the northwest and south French, they call the rest of Cameroon French Cameroon.
Okay, sir. Now, this is my final question, sir. If it happens that, as the results are being announced, and then we find it is found that Biya is, you know, the new the elected president, what is going to be your next move, sir?
We are in revolutionary mood. We move into revolutionary move, and all the opportunity to remove him from power will be used.
Thank you so much for giving us your time, sir. Thank you so much. All the best.
Thank you.
Lulu, that's the story here.
Yes, Michael. Unfortunately, we have
That's
run
the
out of
story
time.
here.
Michael,
Absolutely, yes.
we have run out of time and are going to have to leave it there for today. Thank you for joining us on Africa Update. As our reporter, Michael Mbewe, who is at the Cameroon embassy in Pretoria, the capital city of South Africa. They are speaking to a Cameroonian who is quite emotional and quite upset about what is unfolding in Cameroon. It is 17 after 12 Central African time.
Africa Update with Lulu Gaboo, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time.
At least 4 people have been killed in Cameroon as police and protesters clashed on Sunday ahead of today's presidential election results. Now, supporters of opposition candidate Issa Chiroma defied a protest ban and gathered in the streets of Douala, barricading roads, burning tires and throwing rocks at police. Now, police responded with tear gas and water cannons. Now, partial results show incumbent president 92-year-old Paul Biya on course to win an 8th term in office. Chiroma called on Cameroonians to protest if the Constitutional Council announces that falsified and distorted results. Now, the results are expected to be announced at 4 p.m. Central African time. To discuss this further with us, we are joined on the line by political scientist Cletus Sufri. Cletus, good afternoon and thank you for joining us on Africa Update.
Good afternoon, Lulu, and welcome.
Now, Cletus, 92-year-old Biya, incumbent President Biya, who's barely seen in public for a long time, and with the belief or the fact that he is on course to win an 8th term in office, how does this happen?
Well, it's unfortunate that the president who is older than the atomic bomb, the president who is older, one of the oldest in the continent, and the president who has been known for rigging elections since 2008. It must be noted that even from the elections in 1992, which were won by the late John Fundi of the Social Democratic Front, he won by almost 90%. The CPDM under Paul Biya rigged the elections. Fast forward 2018, when Maurice Kamto won the elections by a landslide majority of about 89%. The elections were still rigged by the CPDM, and Maurice Kamto was thrown in jail. Today, it is the same thing. 8 million registered Cameroonians went to the polls. Majority of them has voted Issa Chiroma, who they thought it better because Biya is 92 years old. He can't even walk properly. He can't think properly. He's a vegetable as we speak. But because his party, the Cameroon People's Democratic Front, under the auspices of his own in-law, the President Secretary General in the presidency, Ngongo Ferdinand, and other ministers who are afraid to be held captive for looting and destroying the country economically, they have decided that the CPDM under Biya, who is not even well, he's sick, and he's for the past 20 years, no minister have seen Biya. The country is being run by ministers and the military dictatorship. So as we speak now, the people of Cameroon have voted Chiroma. According to Article 47, the Constitutional Council needs to declare the results after 15 days of elections. But the Constitutional Council have skipped that date, which was supposed to be on the 23rd of October, and has pushed it to today, the 27th of October, which therefore becomes unconstitutional because they are trying to manipulate the results. And so, as we speak now, more than 6 people, young people, have been killed because the results were captured already at the polling stations. I must remind you that according to the Cameroon Constitution, Article 113 of the Cameroon Electoral Code states that each polling station at the ballot boxes where they are casted have to declare their results on the spot. And so Issa Chiroma and his team have gathered those elections and they have put him winning the elections. But we know that the BR population, the BR CPDM controls the state. It even controls the ELECA, which is the electoral body, and they are handpicked, appointed by the state. So therefore, we are afraid.
You know, Cletus, Chiroma previously has said he won the election by 54% of the vote. Would this not have likely raised false hopes among the Cameroonian people? And just Biya winning another term in office, could we see Chiroma being arrested for treason?
Yes. An attempt has been made to arrest him, but Chiroma neutralized the attempt because there's a split now in the military. There are some military officers who are bagging him. So he made a declaration on Sunday that some special forces were sent to his house to arrest him or eliminate him. But the soldiers who came were put down. We don't know if they were assassinated or they were arrested or they were killed. So there's a lot of pressure going on. As I speak to you, more than 2,000 Cameroonians who voted for Chiroma, who knows that he has won the election, are guarding his premises. They are sleeping there 24/7, including mothers and children, because they were all tired of the Biya dictatorship. Chiroma rightly understands the politics of Cameroon because he was a minister in the CPDM for a long time, and he knows that according to Article 113, each polling station captures the votes and declares the vote, and that is what he has tallied to give him the victory which he claims. And for us in the diaspora, we believe him.
Now, very quickly, just in wrapping up, Cletus, authorities are believed to have detained about 30 politicians and activists who had supported Chiroma's candidacy. Is there any word as to whether they have been released or are they still being held?
Well, you must understand that Cameroon is a military state. Since Biya took over in 1982, he militarized the state. Civilians are tried in military court. It is a military society, it's a military country. So more than 30 have been arrested, including members, heads of the teachers' associations, heads of the transport associations, heads of civil society organizations, and dozens of journalists who were at the polling stations and who captured the result. And so there's a massive crackdown from the airport to the cities all over. We've got more than 300 young men and women, including the civil society, who have been arrested as we speak. And so the government is a no-nonsense government, and they want to rig the elections because the election was supposed to be declared on the 23rd, and they pushed it till today. And so they want to make sure that the voices are silenced. Issa Chiroma and all his supporters and the Cameroonian people are put under behind bars for another Biya term that will give him up to 99 years in power as the world's oldest brutal dictator.
Cletus, we'll leave it there for today. Thank you for joining us on Africa Update. That's political scientist Cletus Sufri ending that discussion. And to South Africa now, where the Madlanga Commission continues today with a new witness, a ballistic expert. Now, the commission is probing claims of interference in police operations and the judiciary. This witness is expected to unpack the murder of an engineer, Ahmad Swart, who was shot 23 times outside his company's premises in April last year in what's been labelled a case of mistaken identity. Meanwhile, last week at Parliament's ad hoc committee probing political interference and alleged criminal infiltration, suspended police minister Senzo Mchunu and his predecessor Bheki Cele testified. And to unpack this for us, we are joined on the line by crime expert Professor Jacob Mufokeng. Prof, good afternoon and thank you for joining us on Africa Update. All right, we seem to have lost that connection to Professor Mofokeng. We are going to try and get him back on the line just to find out exactly how he views these ad hoc committees and the testimonies of, or the testifying of the former police minister, Bheki Cele, and the current and suspended police minister, Senzo Mchunu, and also what is unfolding at the Madlanga Commission. Professor Jacob Mofokeng is going to just unpack that for us. Professor Mofokeng, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Africa Update. Prof, are you there?
Options menu.
All right. While Tracy tries to get him back on the line with us, I'm sure that you've seen what has been unfolding at, you have seen what's unfolded last week at the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee, where I think it was last week, Friday and Thursday, where the former police minister, Bheki Cele, had taken to address the ad hoc committee members and taking questions there. And what was interesting was some of the statements that he made, or responses that he made to some of the questions that were posed to him with regards to what he thought and how he thought the police ministry should be run, including a number of issues that he highlighted. He spoke of the Marikana crisis, where a number of miners lost their lives. There was chaos at the time, and he spoke about how the handling of that was bungled by some of the leadership and the executives. But we do have Professor Mofokeng, who is on the line. Prof, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Africa Update.
Good afternoon, Lulu, and good afternoon to Channel Africa listeners. Thank you for having me.
Now, Prof, what stood out for you at the Madlanga Commission as well as the ad hoc committee this past week?
Well, at Madlanga Commission, it was a week where we were listening to witnesses A, B, and A, B, and C. In terms of highlighting the challenges that they were confronted with, showing how deep corruption and is within the South African Police Service. Names such as Major General Richard Tibiri, as well as that acting, Sidibeng District Commissioner Brigadier Mbangwa Nkwashu, also him being visiting Molefe at Kosimampuru prison, after official hours, but also tampering with ballistic report. Remember that after those castings were found, empty cartridges were submitted to ballistic unit. Then there was a report that has been tampered with until it was taken to, another ballistic center, and that it shows the difference between the comparison of this, showing the attempts that were made so that the report could not link certain firearms with certain crimes that were committed. It also shows that also the name of acting judge of Ledwaba be mentioned, but we just need to be able to accept everything with a pinch of salt, because we can hear things, but if there is no evidence, then unfortunately it will not take us far. But it was important also what is happening at ad hoc committee, where General Cele, provided with the missing information, filling those missing, gaps, because Minister Mchunu came and he could not really give a satisfactory, information as well as his actions. So General Cele, when he came, despite that, he will have, as the MPs asked him, that you seem to be like you are siding with certain officers within the South African Police Service. But what is important, it points to a crisis that is within the criminal justice system. Though, a body that represents judiciary, gave an indication that perhaps then we should be able to be careful in terms of, painting that kind of a picture that judiciary might be captured. But it is important that we need to be hearing this kind of information that is appearing between these parallel entities in terms of whether, to what extent, there is a political interference in South African criminal justice system, but as well as, the people that are trusted to lead us in these entities, to what extent are they serving the interests of the South Africans, but also then we can also see the ambitious, plans, like what has been submitted, Minister Mkunu, working with Matala so that Matala can be able to fund his aspiration to either become a president or deputy president. Exactly.
Now, Prof, because of time, we need to just wrap up quickly. But before I let you go, during the testimony or testifying of the former police minister Bheki Cele, the KZN provincial Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi apologized to Cele through the senior counsel, Councillor Aronsa. What is your view on this apology?
Well, it shows that, we are human beings, despite that, his honorable intentions to expose the rot within the criminal justice system. But I think somewhere, he made submission without taking his facts. So it just shows that what I said earlier, that everything we have to accept with a pinch of salt until the evidence has been presented to us, then we can only then say that indeed there are certain things that have been validated to indicate that there are things that need to be fixed in the country.
Well, Prof, thank you for joining us. We'll leave it there for today. That's crime expert Professor Jacob Mufokeng joining us on the line. Our news headlines up next with Onele Nzinzi.
SABC News. Headlines. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Lulu. Protests have flared in several cities across Cameroon following partial election results. Cameroonians in South Africa also picketing at the Cameroon Embassy in Pretoria. This as they call for President Paul Biya to respect the results of the ballot box. Mali has suspended schools and universities nationwide due to a severe fuel scarcity caused by a blockade on fuel imports imposed by Islamist insurgents. And the South African Health Products Regulatory Authority has announced the registration of the antiretroviral medication Lenacapavir. Lenacapavir is administered twice a year and is highly effective at reducing the risk of HIV acquisition. Channel Africa News, I am Onele Nzinzi.
SABC News. Headlines. The African Perspective. Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
And a very good afternoon from the Sports Desk. I am Musibu Dimakura with your latest sports news at the Sawa. So the race to reach the Total Energies CAF Champions League group stages has now produced 14 confirmed qualifiers who, with rather 2 remaining berths still to be decided next week when Pyramids FC as well as RS Bakan play their postponed second leg fixture. So after a weekend filled with tense second leg encounters, Giants old and new confirm their place among elites, Africa's elite, and setting, of course, the tone for another enthralling campaign in the continent's most prestigious club competition. So record holders march on, new challenges emerge. We get to see the record 12-time champions Al Ali SC continuing their relentless pursuit for a 13th crown. This after advancing after a professional 2-0 victory against Alger Noir. Their consistency in the competition remains unmatched. In Pretoria, right here in South Africa, Mamelodi Sundowns extended their good showing on the continent with an emphatic 7-1 victory over Nigeria's Remo Stars, sealing the passage for an 11th straight time. There was also Esperance de Tunis 4 four-time African champions, also booking their place in the group stages after dispatching Rahimo FC 4-0 on aggregate. Elsewhere, AS FAR Rabat of Morocco secured back-to-back group stage qualifications following a commanding 3-0 home victory over Haroya AC of Guinea, completing a 4-1 aggregate victory. At the same time, Petro de Luanda carried Angola's hopes with a conviction, recording back-to-back 2-0 victories over starred Abidjan to progress 4-0 on aggregate, while Simba SC ensured Tanzania's representation at this year's tournament after a 3-0 aggregate victory over Nzingenzi Hotspurs of Eswatini. So the CAF Club Interclub group stages will take place on Monday, the 3rd of November, right here in South Africa. The 16 teams will be divided into 4 groups of 4, with matches beginning in November. The top 2 in each group will then advance to the quarterfinals as the battle for Africa's biggest club prize continues. On to some tennis news now. Yannick Sinner fought back from a set down to claim his 4th title of the season with a victory over Alexander Zverev in the Vienna Open final yesterday. So the top seed, who currently is on a 21-match winning streak on indoor hard courts, battled through early hamstring cramps to seal a 3-6, 6-3, 7-5 victory just under 2.5 hours on court. It also marks Sinner's 2nd title of the month, having won the China Open at the start of October, while also adding to his Grand Slam haul with victories at the Australian Open as well as the Wimbledon Open earlier on this year. So Sunday's final was the pair's first meeting since Sinner beat Zverev in straight sets in Melbourne back in January of this year. Back home now, newly appointed Netball South Africa President Mami Diale has expressed excitement ahead of leading the federation for the next 4 years. Diale was first choice over Nompumelelo Vavu of Buffalo City, as well as Annika Lucas of the Cape Islands, having received 69 votes out of a total 116 from the NSA Council members during their 2025 meeting in Johannesburg at the weekend. Diale, who has served as Netball South Africa administrator for about 20 years now, says along the new executive, she's looking to restore the dignity of the sport and help propel it forward.
I think my work speaks for itself, nothing else. I'm one of the administrators that made netball to be where it is, in terms of programs, in terms of structures, in terms of policies, transformation and everything. I was part of the building of netball. And my aim is to take netball forward and to move together with the people, those who voted for me and those that did not vote for me. I'm saying together we move forward for netball. Let us call, to rebuild the structure of netball, the culture of netball.
So the new NSA executive includes the likes of Kosi Dlamini, who is the vice president, Lana Krecha, who is the director of selections, Dumisani Chauke, who is the director of the coaches, Margaret Bester, who is the director of empires, as well as Claudine Clausen, director of demarcations as well as structure. Diale says the mandate for the new leadership is to maintain good relationships with stakeholders and also keep players on court.
We need a league for the leagues. We are calling out there to say that sponsors come through, and so as we can support the leagues. Those are 2 key important things. The cream of the top of Netball South Africa, which is your squad of under 19, squad of under 21, squad of your seniors. You put them together in a pool, and then you can create a program for them just to sustain them. Because now, when you look at Netball South Africa, October and November is a dead month. That's the time when we can utilize them. Probably to do a short league for them instead of a training camp. We can make them compete against one another.
All right, so that concludes your sports news this hour. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, our email address is newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11714 4459. For Channel Africa Sport, I am Musibudi Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Got something to say? Are you passionate about issues that matter?
Do you have a voice that deserves to be heard?
Well, we've got the perfect platform for you. Call in or drop us a WhatsApp on +27 63 406 9126. And we will call you back so you could have your say and be part of the conversation.
30 years of age. I just turned 30 on the 15th of November. So that's who I am,
It's not just talk. It's your chance to air your views. Share your opinion. Engage with a community that values your perspective. Follow us on our social media. Visit our website at www.channelafrica.co.za and get ready to share your views on Channel Africa, the African perspective. Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Good afternoon. And our first look at the business news this afternoon. Our top story, a Cape Town-based non-profit organization, Inyatelo, has welcomed the Financial Action Task Force's decision to remove South Africa from its grey list. The NGO's acting executive director, Ferial Domingo, says during the grey listing period, many NPOs struggled to raise funds, faced reputational damage, and even had bank accounts closed due to strict regulations. She says a delisting is expected to create a more supportive funding environment for civil society.
We must, however, not lose momentum and continue our efforts to stay off the grey list. Now, more than ever, South Africa should focus on addressing Recommendation 8, which is concerned with protecting NPOs from being misused for terrorist financing, requiring countries to review their NPO laws and implement risk-based proportionate measures to protect vulnerable organizations without disrupting legitimate activities.
The South African rand is slightly firmer after the greenback declined against a basket of currencies. The removal of the country from a global financial crime watchdog's list of countries under heightened scrutiny also helped the local currency. The Financial Action Task Force's decision to remove South Africa from the grey list is a major boost for its reputation and financial system. Africa's biggest economy was added to the grey list in February 2023 following criticism of its anti-money laundering and anti-terrorist funding mechanisms. The rand is currently trading at 17 rand 24 to the US dollar. With about a month away from the official festive season, the spending season, South Africa consumers are being urged to keep their emotions in check when shopping. The Bureau of Market Research has just released the findings of its study titled The South African Consumer Unveiled. It shows that South African spending is largely driven by emotions and brand loyalty. Taking this into account, Research Director Dr. Antoinette Basson says consumers should make more careful and practical decisions this shopping season.
We actually found in our study that buying decisions are driven by several different factors. And when it comes to decisions, it's not only price that people take into consideration. We very often think during these economic difficult times, people will mainly focus on price.
Gold prices are down 1% today as progress in US-China trade talks dampened demand for safe haven assets. Top negotiators from both sides reached a preliminary consensus on export controls after 2 days of discussions in Malaysia. This now sets the stage for President Trump and President Xi Jinping to seal an agreement when they meet later this week. Major central bank decisions this week are also attracting investor attention, with the Federal Reserve widely expected to cut rates by 25 basis points in response to weaker than expected US CPI data. Meanwhile, oil prices have continued to rise, hovering at their highest level in over 2 weeks, as indications of a potential trade agreement between the US and China improve the outlook for energy consumption. Additional support for oil prices came from persistent worries over Russian oil supply. The US imposed new sanctions last week targeting Rosneft and Lukoil, which together account for about half of Russia's daily oil production and are essential to financing the Kremlin's budget. Brent crude oil is currently trading at $65.48 a barrel. And now taking a look at the indicators, one US dollar in Nigeria is trading at 1,459 naira this afternoon. In Botswana, it's 13 pula 71. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 26. And in Zambia, it's 22 kwacha and 3. Moving to the BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 real 38. Russia, 79 rubles 72. In India, it's 87 rupees 80. China, 7 yuan 12. In South Africa, $1 is trading at 17 rand 24 cents, as mentioned earlier. $1 is trading at 75 pence to the British pound and 86 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $4,042 per ounce, platinum at $1,567 per ounce, while the price of Brent crude oil is at $65.48 a barrel. And those are your business news. For any business news stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Buntle Headbush.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Oh, thank you to Buntle Headbush with our business news. It is 12:46 Central African time, and we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa. Well, today on hashtag Africa Update Ask, we focus on Cameroon as the Cameroonians wait in anticipation for the election results to be revealed later today. Protesters and police clashed in Cameroon and in South Africa. Cameroonians are protesting at the embassy in the country's capital, Pretoria. Now, our question to you today is, what message do you have for the people of Cameroon? Share your thoughts and your views on all our social media platforms. That's on X, Instagram, at Channel Africa 1, on Facebook, at Channel Africa. You can also send us your comments and voice notes to +2763. That's 406 9126. Hashtag Africa Update Us.
Your window to the continent and beyond. Africa Update. Only on Channel Africa. African perspective.
Well, every year on the 27th of October, which is today, the world celebrates World Day for Audiovisual Heritage, a day dedicated to recognizing the significance of audiovisual materials in shaping our shared history and cultural identity. The day has become a key initiative for both UNESCO and the Coordinating Council of Audiovisual Archives Associations to honor professionals and institutions that help to safeguard this heritage. And to speak to us further, we are joined in studio by Channel Africa's archivist, Philasande Khumalo. Philasande, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Africa Update.
Good afternoon, Lulu, and well, it's a pleasure to finally meet you. I've been hearing this voice.
Well, you guys are always hiding, you're always hiding. So at least now, we've met, and you need to tell us, this is exciting, in the same breath, and just briefly take us through how you got into the space.
So Lulu, this year is actually finally a breakthrough year for a permanent job here at SABC.
Oh wow, yay!
Yeah. So I started last year as an intern around June to May this year. Then on June, then I became a permanent staff as an archivist for Channel Africa.
Now, today we celebrate this day, audiovisual heritage, dedicated to recognizing the significance of audiovisual materials. What does your job entail?
My job actually is to make sure that Channel Africa content is preserved and can be accessible even to the public. It doesn't have to be like around the producers or the SABC staff only, but it's also catered even for the external clients who wants to know what's happening, what has been happening on the news, since we have news actuality. So yeah, that's what I do.
And do you get the public actually getting in contact with you to get that information that is archived in this building of ours?
Oh yes, a lot. We got last time we had this event for where we are celebrating the news anniversary.
Yes.
So yeah, we were working around the clock for that. We had to pick up the news from like the first time where SABC started to broadcasting news. So yeah, we had to work around the clock, all of us, finding those old news. So yeah, that's where the archives come across.
Now, Pilasande, I'm just thinking that I've got these headphones on that I use when I'm on air. And how does it work with your team in terms of are you always having headphones on? Just describe a day, just a normal day, for our listeners and ourselves, just to know exactly what your job entails on a day-to-day basis.
Actually, headphones are one of our material that we use so that we will be hearing the good content of the whatever that is being broadcasted. You need to hear the good quality of that sound, get to know every detail of it, because it's come across to a point whereby you have to catalog it, then store it. If the quality is not good, then that means that material you won't be able to hear it clearly in maybe in 50 years to come. So it needs to be a good quality. So we need headphones. We also use speakers, but if you're using speaker, it won't be as much as when you're using headphones, because when you use the headphones, you hear even the little bit of the sound that is there, that is need to be preserved.
Now, you're part of a team that has this initiative basically both has been recognized both by UNESCO and the Coordinating Council of Audiovisual Archives Associations, honoring the professionals, which obviously is yourself and your teammates and team members and just institutions like the SABC that help to safeguard this heritage. What does it take? Putting the information together, obviously storing it under the days of when it was broadcast or recorded, and if a bad day happens, what happens? What does it mean?
Yeah, well, if bad days happens and that we human, we make mistakes.
Yes.
So, but luckily we have servers, we have the mainframe where this content actually, as we're speaking right now, it goes through. So if it happens that maybe as an archivist, I catalog it wrong or I store it wrong, someone else can be able to go and find the original and be able to come and put it right.
Attention to detail?
It's very, very important, because with Channel Africa, I'm from KZN, by the way, so I'm not used to Chinyanja, French, Kiswahili that is being broadcasted here. So I use AI to transcribe for those audios. So it's very important for me to pay attention to detail, because AI is not 100% accurate. So you need to make sure that whatever that is written there, does it make sense? And likely we have find it like from maybe other programs where they speak English, so you can be able to corroborate and say, oh, I've heard this here, but it doesn't go like this, so here, let me correct this in this way.
And are you able to also then speak to maybe our colleagues as well to find out if you've done the translation correctly? Because just one simple word can change the whole story.
Yeah, it can change like the whole content, and now it's something else, and it's gonna give problem, because now the client is gonna come and they say, no, this is not what I heard on the radio. So where does this come from? Yeah, unfortunately, with the backlog that we have and looking at our facility, it becomes a problem to communicate like regularly, but we do communicate with producers to get everything that we need about the programs that are being broadcasted here at Channel Africa.
And how important is it for people to commemorate this day?
It's very important, Lulu, because this day actually it gives awareness about preserving audio, films, and also with the TV programs, because now we are raising kids that are on TikTok. A lot of things that they're on TikTok, they're just for fun. So in future, they will know what happened in 1994. TikTok won't be able to tell them that. So they're going to need to get this material. So that's why this day is so important, so that people can be able to know that if you have information that you think it's important and we need to catalog it and store it, whereby even future generation can be able to get it, we are here and we welcome anyone to donate us any material that is useful that we can be kept for next generation.
Well, Pilar Sand, it's been a pleasure and congratulations once again.
Thank
and
you.
Thank you so much for joining us on Africa Update.
Thank you.
That's Channel Africa's archivist Pilar Sande Kumalo joining us live in studio, and she comes from just around the block, literally in the same passage. It is 12:55 Central African time, and we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa. And join us in conversation on our social media platforms. That's on X, Instagram, and subscribe on YouTube at Channel Africa 1, on Facebook at Channel Africa. You can also send us your comments and voice notes to +2763 at 406 9126 hashtag Africa Updates, and let us know which country you're in. And if you have any stories that you'd like us to highlight or to focus on, send us an email. It is newsroom@channelafrica.co.za, or give us a call on +2711 714 4459.
Africa in Business on Channel Africa.
The United States was very vocal at the beginning of South Africa's G20 presidency, and this is largely due to strained relations with South Africa at the time, that they were not really keen on participating. Where do they stand right now?
The US is planning to take over the presidency of the G20 next year, and our understanding from them is that they intend to continue to do so, and therefore it is quite difficult then to be in a situation where you are not attending deputies' meetings or discussions during our presidency and then to take over the presidency next year. From a finance track perspective, there has been engagement. We've been working on a communique last week and this week here in Zimbabwe. What's important about that is that it's a consensus document, and so all the members in the room have to agree to the language that is used there, and our US colleagues have been part of those discussions and negotiations.
Bringing the African markets into your home. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Africa Update, your daily dose of African insights with Lulu Gaboo on Channel Africa. Let the good times roll. From the 10th of October, make a note. Channel Africa is stepping into a brand new era with the launch of our upgraded website and app. It's easy, fresh, and always on your fingertips. Wherever you are in the world, Africa's voice is just a click away. The future of Channel Africa. Okay. Goes live from the 10th of October. Don't miss the moments. Get Channel Africa on DSTV Audio Bouquet. Channel 802.
Well, it is 12:58 Central African time, and we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa. A number of big stories that were focused on today. The issue of Cameroon, where Cameroonians wait in anticipation for the election results to be revealed later today. I think the expectation is that it will be done at 4 p.m. Central African time. Protesters and police clashing in Cameroon, and then also here in South Africa. Cameroonians are protesting at the embassy in the country's capital, Pretoria, and in anticipation to these results. And there are already claims that, or alleged claims that the incumbent president Paul Biya, who is 92 years old, has won the election. We don't know yet. It hasn't been confirmed. It's alleged, and the opposition leader Chiroma, who is basically saying that he believes that something may go wrong here, and claiming that he's won 54% of the vote. Whether this is true or not is yet to be seen. And I spoke to a political scientist, Clayton Sufri, with regards to the elections in Cameroon and the results. And he mentioned a number of times that the results should have been announced on the 23rd of October. And that was postponed to today, the 27th of October. And he's already claimed and said that these results will be illegal because of the change of a date illegally. So a lot unpacked on Africa Update today, and we're yet to see how these results pan out. The Madlanga Commission still on, and a lot coming out from there. And that's how we wrap Africa Update today. Thank you for joining us. Continue with us on our social media platforms, and let's do this again tomorrow. Thank you to our team, Tracy Bumgad, our producer, technical operator, Didimalo Macau, and social media, Dumi Silima. It's been a good one. Bye-bye.
SABC News, independent and impartial.
From an African